My parents came here from the Philippines along with my grandparents. I've always been one of the few Filipinos in a public school setting, and kids would always look at me and be like, "Oh, you're Asian, you're smart, you should know everything, you know it." But this is really important because it also falls into the biases of the teachers to make sure and to recognize the disparities between the Asian community and provide the resources that struggling groups need to successfully achieve in school.
As someone who emigrated from Mexico to the United States at a young age, I face challenges in the education system and I struggle to feel supported in school. It's important for students to be able to share their stories so that educators can be aware of different student backgrounds and cultures. Since teachers hold so much power in schools, they have the potential to use their role to transform systems in place and provide more equitable opportunities in classrooms.
As a Tunisian Arab individual, I have recognized that schools reproduce inequities by creating this idea that middle upper class white students are the superior culture, and that all students from all sorts of backgrounds should strive to sort of fit into that mold. I was placed in English second language programs despite English being my first language because my school didn't like that I spoke Arabic at home and sort of wanted to erase that from my identity. Educators have a lot of power in schools, but students should have power because they're the ones learning subjects that they will carry on with their lives and influence later generations.
I used to study in China where teachers normally take the power and somehow rule the students, but UCSD really changed my life. It gives power to the students, which really helps me become an ideal student who will join those endeavors as a critical, independent, strong, and clear-thinking participant, and develop myself in the way that I want. Thus, students can write the history in their own ways and become their own, as Gustin believes. We need to, like generations of African American freedom teachers, see our own future in those of our students.
Both of my parents attended school in the US for all of their education and are white, which does provide privilege within the American school system. My mom came from a lower class family situation and she had to join the army in order to pay for her schooling. I come from a middle class family and I had a passion to learn that was fostered from a very young age. My younger brother was not as focused on learning at his young age, and the structure of his classrooms were not conducive to how he learned. And I still see how this impacts his education to this day. He is privileged because he is a white male in a middle class family. However, I see this as an example of how important it is to find a learning style that is beneficial for all different types of students rather than just the majority. If students from minority groups are not given a learning environment that fosters their development in their language structures or social norms, it puts them at a disadvantage. As schooling continues, teachers may wrongly judge intelligence because the student just has a different way of learning that is not represented by the majority.
As someone who grew up in an all Spanish speaking household and as a ESL student, I was always told to speak English because I needed to be proficient in the English language in order to find success in the classroom and in the real world. With that said, teachers should have the power to teach however they want rather than the administrators that push a certain curriculum because the teachers are the ones that can relate to their own students and build the social capital that could help.